Hello everyone. In this lesson I want to add a few improvements to our single critter screen. So if I click on an individual critter, right below our favorite archive and remix actions, I want to have quick filter links. So you could say like, show me all my sea otter critters, or show me any critter that's wearing pajamas, or show me any critter in front of a gnome's house. And I just want those to be simple links you can click on that take you back to the home page. But remember, we have the filter down here. So they're just one-click links away from any of these based on the current critter you're looking at. Okay, and then after that, below those quick links, I want to have an area that shows any, I guess you could call it clones of this critter, or we could say critters that use this same recipe. For example, I have these two, right? The hamster, the crochet hamster wears pajamas on a bridge. So these are using the exact same inputs. So I thought it would be nice if we have an area down here that says like other critters using these settings, and then it actually shows a thumbnail of that critter and you can click on it to view it. Cool, so let's get started on those quick filter links. Here's what I have in mind. Let's write a new prompt together, and let's say in single critter.php, below the favorite and archive and remix actions, have a quick filters area with the following 4 links. So I would just in quotes say like, show me all my pig critters, but don't actually say pig hard-coded. Instead, it would be the noun that the current critter uses. When the user clicks on that link, it takes them to our home page. So just, quotes / quotes, and uses the already existing filter URL parameter feature. That's the first of the 4 links I want. The other 3 would be the adjective, verb, and location. So for example, show me all my critters on a bridge, but make the location dynamic based on the current critter. And show me all my fluffy critters, but make the adjective the current critter's adjective. And finally, show me any critter that I've created that jumps, but make the verb the one that the current critter uses. Let's go ahead and press enter and see what that gives us. It looks like my agent finished. I am curious because I didn't tell it to give it any Tailwind styling. I'm curious if it went ahead and made it look okay visually, but let's say npm run dev, just so it'll pick up any new styling if it added any. Let me go back and hard refresh on a single critter, and let's test this out. So we see, show me all my hamster critters. That's almost the right idea. I mean, you can see it took us to this URL, but I think it's using a wrong URL parameter because clearly that's not working. Let me try any of the others, like show me all my crochet critters. Yeah, that's not. So it looks like none of these are working. So here's how I would troubleshoot it. Now here's where it gets really hard because you're probably not having this exact same issue, but I can at least explain my thought process. So this looks very close to the right idea, but it's not working. So what I would do is just actually on my home page, we know that this area works. So like if I set the noun to hamster and click filter, yes. So I can see that the URL parameter is not noun_id, it's filter_noun. So I'll just tell my agent that is almost working, but you're using the wrong URL parameters when linking back to the home page. Instead of noun ID, it is, if we look up here, filter under, and again, yours is probably different than mine, but you get the idea. I'm just needing them to match. So filter_noun. Please make this similar adjustment to the verbs and locations and adjectives as well. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, looks like it finished. So now let me go back to a single critter and test this out. So I'll try show me all my sea otter critters. Cool, that looks like it's working. I can click show me all my fluffy critters. Wow, I guess I really like fluffy. Did I tell all of these critters to be fluffy? No, I didn't. This was the stone squirrel. So it looks like that's still not working. For adjective, let's test the other one. So we know that my adjective isn't working. Let me try my verb. So my verb is working. Let me try my location. So location and adjective are not working. So to fix that, I would just go to my real homepage. I know that these are working, right? So like if I say location in front of a gnome's house, I know that that's working. So I would just look up in the URL bar. Aha, it's filter underscore just LOC. So I would say location still isn't working. The correct URL parameter for the homepage filtering is, and then what was it? Yes, filter underscore LOC. Also, the correct URL parameter for adjectives, adjective is, and then I would just go back. Let me set this to crochet. Yes, so it's filter underscore ADJ. Filter underscore ADJ. Please fix these. Looks like it's done. Let me go test that out. So I'll try this sea otter again. So now I can click show me all my fluffy critters. That's actually working. Perfect. Let me go back and click in front of a gnome's house. Perfect. So now all of my quick filter links are working. Now let's set up that next feature that I want below the quick filters that shows any other critters that are an exact clone of the current critter. So if you wanted to, just to make sure you have a clone, like I'll click on my newest critter, I'll click remix and just create it again. So it should be very similar, right? These two are very similar, but now when you click on either one of those, I would expect after we build our feature down here, it should show other cloned critters. So let me write a prompt of in singlecritter.php below the quick filters area, add a new area titled other critters with this same recipe that only appears if there are other critters in the critters table created by this same user ID of the current critter and that uses the same adjective, noun, verb, and location values as the current critter. If so, show thumbnail images of any matching critters, and clicking on one should take you to single critter.php ID equals X, but the X should be the ID for that critter. Cool, let's go ahead and press enter and see if that gives us what we're looking for. Looks like mine finished, so I'll go back to the single detail screen. I will perform a hard refresh in case it added any new CSS styling. Cool, but we see other critters with this same recipe. So there's one puppy, there's the other clone. I can click on it, and then from that screen, should see, yep, that other puppy. Or I can test this out again. I know that one of these sea otters was a clone, right? Or excuse me, my hamster on a bridge. So that one, scroll down, cool. Let me click one more clone of this one just so we can see what two clones sitting next to each other looks like. So I can click on that one, and now this should have two other clones or matching recipes. Yep, you get the idea. Oh, and it even added a hover effect. Very cool. This is exactly what I was wanting for both the quick filters and the clones area. That is going to bring this lesson to a close. In our next lesson, I want to talk about pagination. So on our homepage, currently we're just showing any and all critters, but we should probably only show maybe like the first 12 critters, or the first 10, or I mean we can choose a number in the next lesson, but then down here we'd want to have like back and forward arrows or like pages of like 1, 2, 3, 4, so you can click through all your critters without the server having to display all, what if you had like 500 critters? We wouldn't want to load all 500 images just when you visit the homepage necessarily. Let's keep our momentum rolling, and I'll see you then. Hello everyone. In this lesson, we're going to add pagination to our homepage, because what if a user had 2,000 critters? We wouldn't want to load all 2,000 images. That's a huge waste of data and bandwidth for both our server and our users. So in this lesson, now you can use a different number, but why don't we just use like 8 images at a time, and then you'd have to click to view the next, we can call it like the next page of critters. And I'm thinking just below the critters, but before our filters. So right about here, we can have the pagination links. So here's the prompt that I would write to set that up. I would say in index.php, add pagination to the area that shows critters. Only show 8 at a time, and below the critters, but above the filters area, have pagination links. Use Tailwind to make the pagination area look nice, and make sure that the pagination URL parameters are sanitized and follow best security practices. Let's go ahead and press enter and see what that gives us. Okay, it looks like mine finished. Now again, you'll need to make sure you have an npm run dev task up and running. And I'll just go to the home page and perform a hard refresh. So I pull in that newest CSS, and let's scroll down to the bottom. Cool. And now you could fine tune the styling. I'm not a huge fan of the exact colors it chose, but let's test it out. So we see the first 8 critters, and if I click on 2, see the next, I can click on 3, see the next. Let me try the previous and next links instead. Cool, that works. Takes me back to 1. I can click on this to go to 2, so on and so forth. So that was a really easy feature. It got it right on the first try. I'm happy with the little bit of margin it added above and below it. This is great. Now you can fine tune it if you wanted to show more or less than 8 critters. You could fine tune the styling, but you get the idea. Now we don't waste the user's bandwidth or our server's bandwidth sending over, 2,000 critter images at once. That's going to bring this quick lesson to a close. If I go ahead and log out, in our next lesson, let's work on the guest sort of explainer homepage, right? Because currently on my homepage, maybe yours too, it's completely empty if you're not logged in. So we need some sort of like marketing or explanation of what this app is, entice users to sign up and give it a try. That should be a fun change of pace. Let's keep our momentum rolling, and I'll see you then. Hello everyone. In this lesson, let's set up our guest or marketing homepage. So if you log out, if you just visit your homepage when you're not logged in, we don't have any content. So let's create a nice, using Tailwind styling, a nice marketing homepage that explains what our app is about, what you can do, and just sort of entice the user into using it. Now, imagery is a huge strength of our application, so I recommend, go ahead and get logged back in really quick. I recommend picking 4 of your absolute favorite critter images that you've created so far. So just dig through them, find out which ones you like the most. You can right click and click save image, or just drag and drop the image to your desktop. But you can see I've selected my 4 of my favorite, and I've named them example-1, example-2, 3, and 4. And the file ends in .webp as the file extension. Let's place those in our code folder, and then we can tell the AI agent, let me log out again, when it creates the home marketing page to use those 4 images. So here's what I would do. In VS Code, we should have a media folder, right? Currently that just has our CSS files. I would just drag and drop your 4 favorite critter images into that media folder. So I just dragged and dropped them, and now you should see these images. Well, you have different images, but you should see your images in your media folder. Cool. Now it's really easy for the agent to use those on the marketing homepage. So let's start writing a prompt together. Let's say in index.php, if a user is not signed, let's not say user, let's say visitor. If a visitor is not signed in, they currently don't see anything between the header and footer. Create a nice guest or marketing homepage content area for me for non-logged in users. Use Tailwind to make it beautiful. The point of the page is to showcase example images, and I put in parentheses, which I'll tell you where you can find them after the parentheses. So we've got the point of the page is to showcase example images and explain what our app does and why it's great, and entice users to sign up and use it. I would tell the agent where to find the images, and then I would give it sort of a sales pitch on what our app does. So let's first tell them where the images are. The example images I want to show are in the media folder, and they are named example-1.webp. I would say comma, and just actually spell it out. Like, the more literal you are with AI, I feel the better. So I'll say example-2 webp, example-3 webp, and example-4 webp. Our app is called Critter Loop, and it lets you choose between over 1 million different combinations to create critters. Our app uses AI image generation, and each critter created is unique. Users can favorite, remix, and we don't have a share feature built into our app, but share just as in you could save the images and share them with your friends and family. So maybe we could say like users can favorite, remix, and build a collection of critters to share and show off. Okay, I think that's enough of a prompt. I mean, you could get more specific, but I think this is definitely enough to work with. And then from here, you can sort of chisel it away like a statue. Like, you can make fine-tune adjustments to it once it's already up and running. But let's go ahead and press enter and see what that gives us and see if we need to make any key adjustments. Okay, it looks like mine finished. Moment of truth. Let's refresh the homepage when we're not logged in. Let me do a hard refresh just to make sure I have the new CSS. Right away, I'm liking the look of this. Welcome to Critter Loop. Create unique AI-generated critters from over 1 million combinations. The sign up free link goes to register. Perfect. The login link works. Perfect. See what you can create. And then we've got our 4 favorite example images. Looking good. Why choose Critter Loop? Okay, cool. It's got a 3 call out area. Scroll down a little bit more. Ready to create your first critter? Join thousands of creators. Well, I'm going to change this just because I don't want to make any false claims. I mean, I know yours is going to be different and random from mine, but I guess the lesson here is to definitely review what it's giving you. But this looks really good. I'm very happy with the way this looks and the links that it shows. I'm very impressed. I'll probably just change this to say get started today. So let's go find that. So in index.php, I would keep those changes. You can press Command or Control F, and if I just search for the word thousands, I'll just change that. I'll say, join today to make unique AI-generated critters. Well, join today to make critters every day doesn't sound great. Let's say, join today to make unique AI-generated critters. Maybe just change this to your heart's content. I'll change that symbol right here. So in HTML, instead of just the actual literal apostrophe, you probably want to say ampersand RSQUO semicolon. But let me give that a save, refresh. Cool. Join today to make unique critters to your heart's content. We only want 1 period at the end there. Beautiful. I really like what it gave us. I like the icons. I like the colors. This is great. Let me make sure that when you log in, you don't see this content though. So get logged in real quick. Perfect. I get logged in. None of that content remains. Beautiful. And just remember to detail though, really quick, if we log out, our application is not free. I mean, it's free to sign up for an account, but you can't create any critters. You're essentially just creating an account that all you can do is log in and log out. So I'd be sure to remove the word free, I think right here. And then my agent, let's see. Yeah, also use the word free on this button. So I would just remove those manually. I would just go and do index.php, Command or Control F for the word free. I'll just say get started. You can get rid of the dash, it's free. If I search for the other instance, I would just change this to sign up, not sign up free. If I refresh, that still looks good, and this still looks good. That's going to bring this lesson to a close. In our next lesson, I want to show you how we can easily create a logo for our application. So I want to include it here in the header and then also maybe right about here down in the footer. Let's keep things rolling and I'll see you then. Hello everyone. In this lesson, I want to create a logo for Critter Loop that we can use right here in the top left and then also somewhere down in our footer, but size it a bit smaller. So to create the logo, I would just use either ChatGPT or Google Gemini. And let's just write a quick prompt together. So I would say, please create a logo for my web app that is called Critter Loop. Now I want the logo to have a transparent background because up here you can see the header has a slight gray background, but then down here it's white. But I've found that AI has a really hard time actually giving you a truly transparent background image. So I don't worry about that in this step. I'll show you how step 2 we can remove the background and make it transparent. But let's say, please create a logo for my app. The app is playful, so perhaps the I in critter and the O's in loop can be animal paws. Let's just run that and see what it gives us. Okay, it looks like the image is done. So 2 things. I want it to sit on a single line, and then also I'll tell it to use at least a white background, so hopefully it's easier to make the background transparent. But I'll just say, great, but have both words be on a single line. Also have the background be white. Okay, so off camera, I just argued with AI for 5 minutes. So it gave me this, which is not what I asked for. Also, now it's spelling critter in a weird way. Then I gave it another prompt. It put them on the same row, but now the I doesn't have the animal paw. I tried to correct it. It put them back on separate lines. It still put them on separate lines, and then I ran out of my free usage. So then I switched over to Gemini, and I actually had good results with Google Gemini. So at first it gave me this, which is not what I wanted, but then I gave it, prompts. I said, okay, good, but get rid of that text on the bottom. It gave me this. Then I told it to use like different colors, and that's not the font that I would choose, but for now, this is good enough. So let me show you how I would crop this and get it to be using an actually transparent background. So I would just save that or drag and drop that to my desktop. And then the first step is to crop around it. And I've found that if I ask in the chat to crop around the image, it doesn't ever work. Like you can see, I said, perfect. Now crop around it so that there's no empty space around the text in the image file. And then it gave me back this exact same image with all of the space here and here. So what I would do is just save the image and then Google for Pixlr Editor. So from Pixlr, I want this Pixlr Editor, and then just drag and drop your logo. And then let's see, there's the crop tool right about here. Highlight it right here for you. So just crop, and then I would just select around the image very closely. I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect, but you get the idea. Just get reasonably close. Okay, good enough. And then towards the top right, click apply on that crop. Okay, now let's just save and export that. So I'll say file export, quick export image as PNG. Okay, so now in your downloads folder, you have that cropped image. Now we just need to give it a transparent background. I've had great luck with this website. It's called remove.bg. So I'll just drag and drop my cropped image, my cropped logo, and let's see what it gives me. Yep, looks good to me. So now I can just download and save that. The preview size is A-OK. I don't need anything larger. And now in your downloads folder, you should have a new logo with an actually transparent background. So find that newest file that this remove.bg website gave you. For me, I just moved it to my desktop, and let's rename it. Let's rename it to logo.png. And now we just need to move that into our VS Code folder. So back in VS Code, in your media subfolder, I would just drag and drop and move logo into media. Cool. Now we can just give our AI a prompt. So I would say, in header.php, replace the our app link, right? So this area, replace that with our logo image, which can be found in the media folder and is named logo.png. Please use Tailwind to size the image appropriately for our header. Also in footer.php, let's go look at our website real quick. So down here, let's just say maybe above the copyright text. We'll say in footer.php, above the copyright text, include our logo again, but make sure it's a bit smaller down in the footer. Okay, let's go ahead and press enter and see what that gives us. Okay, it looks like my agent finished. Let me go back and perform a hard refresh. That looks great in the header. I really like that. Let's scroll down and look at it in the footer. I'm happy with that. But obviously if the sizing wasn't right, like you could tell it, make the logo in the footer a bit smaller and adjust things accordingly. But I'm really happy with this. Let me log in real quick to make sure that the spacing with the logo works with the favorite and archive links. Okay, I got logged in. Let me scroll down. Yep, that looks okay to me. I like that. That's going to bring this lesson to a close. At this point, we're getting very close to launching our app. But before we do that, there are just a few more details we need to take care of, and then also maybe we can perform a quick security audit and just make sure that it makes sense to launch our app. Even though maybe we're not taking real payments yet, we're still taking fake sandbox payments, so on and so forth. So let's make sure that things that we've protected, like our replicate credits, before we actually go live and publish this. We can also walk through a quick agent-led security audit, so on and so forth. Let's keep our momentum rolling, and I'll see you then.